Welcome back to Point of View on this very busy day where we present all sides of the story, including yours. Tonight, Ron Paul, he's running for president and winning hearts and minds right here in the Red River Valley. So what's behind his popularity in our area? Let's get over to KFGO's News and Views host Joel Heidkamp in the hot box to talk more about this.
Thank you, Stephanie. You know, presidential politics are hot right now. Anywhere you look, it's going to play out over the next, well, until fall of next year. And it seems like it's been playing out for over a 2-year period. In the case of the individual we're about to talk about, it's really been playing out over the course of the last 4 years. Ron Paul took the world stage and took it by storm, mostly through consistency. You might not agree with him. You might disagree with him. You might like him. You might not like him. I don't know. I can tell you this. What I like about Ron Paul is I love his consistency. Ron Paul says something, he means it. It isn't always popular. He comes to these debates and he stands there and you know what you're going to get. Now, his politics could not be more different than my politics in many ways. Ron Paul, I doubt, would ever vote for Joel Heidkamp, where Joel Heidkamp will probably never vote for Ron Paul. But that doesn't mean I don't find him incredibly interesting. And I love the fact that we here in the upper Midwest, in the Fargo, Moorhead, Grand Forks, East Grand Forks, Wapton, Breckenridge areas of the Red River Valley are actually going to get access to a major player when it comes to forming policy and debate. That's what Ron Paul is. He may not win the Republican nomination. He may. Who knows? But I'll tell you what, he's part of forming that debate. And he's going to be in Fargo, Moorhead over the weekend. We have Janine Hess with us. She's with Treasure Island Coins Incorporated. Janine, welcome to the Hot Box.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you for having me.
You're the sponsors. You're the one who said, you know, let's get Ron Paul up here. We want to hear from him.
Yes.
Why?
You said it when you said the debate. Let's get the questions out into the open, and Ron Paul is great at that. He is a catalyst for debate. He looks at things from a different paradigm. He brings in different parameters, especially with economic issues, which is what we're mainly concerned about.
Now, when I think of Treasure Island, I think of Gold Standard. I think of, you know, things like that. Well, how does that connect with a Ron Paul?
Gold and silver are money. Always have been, always will be. And that's what, excuse me, Mr. Paul is trying to bring out, is that the money system, the economic structure in the United States needs some redoing, because the economy is constantly being saved and resaved and re-resaved. And he's saying, hey, wait, let's examine this. Let's ask the questions that we need to and get to the root cause so that we can apply a root solution. And he feels it's the money supply.
Let's not make the whole debate about, you know, gold and silver, but I do think we need to address this. Since 2008 and basically the collapse of the economy, really gold and silver have taken off.
Yes.
Why?
Well, because the dollar's gone down. It's not so much that gold and silver are worth that much more, but our dollar is worth that much less. And so consequently, it takes more money to buy anything these days. You know, with the Fed printing money and the currency markets in such a turmoil, they are seeking anything that's of substantial and real value. And they're a lot more portable than land.
Janine, let me ask you this, because normally most economists that I've ever talked to will tell me that a weaker dollar means stronger overseas markets.
Right.
They can buy more for less. And yet we still haven't seen a jump start to our economy. So which one is it?
Well, we don't have anything to export. What do we make? Our manufacturing base is overseas. So any benefit that we might get from a weaker dollar is negated by the fact that our manufacturing base has been cut.
If we weren't in the ag sector, I'm not sure I could answer that. But being in the ag sector, you know, we can talk about that.
The ag sector, yes, everybody's got to eat. But as far as the rest of taking raw materials, steel and plastics and electronics, and making something and exporting it, you know, you've got to admit that that manufacturing base has really fallen off a cliff.
Actually, I think your point is very fair. Where has Ron Paul stood when it comes to the WTO, when it comes to a lot of these trade agreements that were issued in, I might add, a bipartisan fashion?
You know, I really can't answer to all of his positions. All I can answer to is that he really feels that it's an economic problem and that it's an education and it's a parameter problem. And that's what he really is here to try and get people to examine and to look at his policies. If you look at what he has said in the past about economic matters, if you research what he's said, like you said, he's been consistent. Not only has he been consistent, he's been right.
The other part that I have to add to that, though, is you can be consistent, but you still got to win. And Ron Paul has been somebody who has not achieved that level of getting the Republican endorsement. Would you like to see him run as an independent?
Yes, I would. I would. If he can't get an endorsement, I do feel he should run as an independent. And that's my personal position.
But you'd like to have that chance on the ballot to vote for him?
Yes, I would.
Okay. Janine, let's get to the details. He's going to be at the Fargo Civic Center when?
Yes, on Saturday, November 5th. The doors open at 5. 500 dinner tickets have already been sold. So people are suggested to come there early so that they can get good parking and don't have to endure a crowd.
And the money goes to?
I believe it is going to the North Dakota Policy Council,
which is a conservative group. And
right, and they are a nonprofit.
Exactly.
Yes.
Janine, thank you. Thanks for coming on and making sure. Folks, we're part of this. It's part of our nation, and the presidential debate is about as hot as it can get. There's absolutely no question about that. Here's the thing. Ron Paul is somebody who is going to be in this for the long haul. I don't personally believe that Ron Paul is going to get the nomination. Whether you like that or not, that's just a statement from Joel Heitkamp. But what I think Ron Paul is in this debate for is to make sure that he frames the debate, that he drives people to his positions. If you look at the last election, I think you'd have to say that John McCain became more conservative because of a Ron Paul. If you look at the Tea Party movement and you look at what Ron Paul's son did being elected to the United States Senate, you'd have to say that the Tea Party movement themselves have gained a lot of traction. Now, can they win the presidency? We've got Herman Cain and others sitting there today, all in full reverse. George Will writing a column about Mitt Romney that kind of points out he's really not a conservative, and Rick Perry saying, you know what, I'm not your debater, I really don't talk that well. Who's out there? Who's out there that can beat Barack Obama? And that's a big question that I have for our viewers tonight. And one, Stephanie, I'm really curious what our response is going to be.
Well, absolutely, Joel. There's a lot of people that are torn on this, that I'm not really sure how they feel on Ron Paul. There are some that are supporting him, some that aren't, but some that are in between. So Alyssa says this: I love that he wants our troops home and that he is for less government. But Caitlin says, I'm totally torn because I support Roe versus Wade, but agree with everything else on his platform. How about Carol? Carol says this: even though I agree with some of his ideas, I don't agree with most of his foreign policy items. But as you can see, a lot of these people are giving him a chance, and that's maybe one of the reasons why people enjoy him here. Tyler then says this: I don't like that he's a religious zealot who thinks that the separation of church and state doesn't or shouldn't exist. Very good information, guys. Thanks for all your comments. And you can continue talking to us. It's not too late for your voice to be heard. You can chat live right now at 630pov.com. You can tweet us as well. You can use the hashtag 630POV, or you can get in touch with us on Facebook. Our Facebook page is Valley News Live. Now, at the end of the broadcast, we're going to get a lot more of those tweets, a lot more of those Facebook comments about the American Crystal vote, about how it was heavily rejected, but still ahead. Updates on 2 stories that you heard first here, including the case of a cop's widow denied death benefits and who's now involved in that case. Stay with us.